as we pray, pledging with love our country to serve. In resolve, we shall stand, employable skills we promote, for the greater good we shall serve, and evince prominence in the world.
The Directorate of Industrial Training is a quality assurance body under the Ministry of Education and Sports.
We appreciate the great job that you're doing for this country, especially in promoting skills development for all categories of people who need skills. Skills development is a very high agenda for government, and being a sector directly responsible for human capital development, the Ministry of Education and Sports has the responsibility to ensure the necessary structures and programs in place to make this happen.
It has a mandate to develop occupational standards, regulate work-based training schemes, and apply Uganda Vocational Qualifications Framework, and accredit assessment centers as spelled out in the TVET Act 2008. Technical Vocational Education and Training, TVET, has come from far.
In the past, it's like all those who have gone to school can go through the formal system and get certificates. But now we are saying even if you have not gone to school, you have a skill and you can master a skill. You can go to Katwe, for example. You master a skill there and you are certified for it. You are tested and you are certified for it.
Over time, many institutions have been offering skills development, but with no central regulatory framework. They concentrated on formal skills that are not relevant in the informal sector. The new TVET policy allows both the non-formal and formal skills to be assessed and certified for the world of work.
First of all, it was identified that skills development in general is a scattered thing. Everybody is doing skills development in their ways, but they don't have a coordination, a central coordination that you can tell that this is what is happening in the country. So what this policy is trying to do is that it's not really a policy for the Ministry of Education. It brings together all the sectors of the economy that are involved in skills development. So that is one important thing that this policy is doing. Two, we used to make skills development a formal thing, only for the institutions that we have. What this policy is doing is saying that you have formal, you have informal, you have non-formal. All those are skills, areas of skills.
The Directorate of Industrial Training is mandated to promote quality assurance interventions in business, technical, vocational education, and training for the public and private sector labor markets.
It assesses all skills, whether you went to school or not. As long as you have acquired the skill, the body to assess and certify you is the Directorate of Industrial Training. So, Directorate of Industrial Training started around in the 1940s.
Founded in 1947, it conducted trade testing and designed a special rehabilitation package for World War II returnees.
And its basis was to give a livelihood to these people as they are repatriated to the community. But when they go to the community, they should be at least useful to them.
Around 1952, that is when the training started. In 1953, the actual assessment started, the trade test, what we call trade test. You have trades, then you test somebody on those trades.
DIT evolved from Skills Training Center to Trade Testing and Certification Center at the time when Asians were expelled from Uganda in 1972. There was acute shortage of skilled manpower to run the industries in Uganda.
The Directorate of Industrial Training was established in 1972 by decree. At that time, Uganda had lost many professionals that had left the country, and the country was in need of skilled people. So there was need to create this body to accelerate the production of workers.
Changing mindset towards vocational and technical skills has been gradual, as many Ugandans had been taken up by white-collar jobs.
Okay, two things there. One, there was also little sensitization. People used to look down upon skills in general. If you are going to a TVET, they look at you as a failure. But through sensitization, this is slowly changing. People are beginning to realize that actually this is where money is. This is where wealth is. This is where growth and development is. And they are now embracing it. But two, and also very important, our academic system has taken people too much to theory. And in the end, you finish school, you have no job. Then they begin to realize, hey, actually I can't perform in the world of work because I don't have the skills. And then now they go to skills.
From 1972 to 1986, the decree was in place, but soon after the National Resistance Movement assumed office, the decree was transformed into an Industrial Training Act.
Now the Industrial Training Act was now fully legally operationalizing the Directorate of Industrial Training. The Directorate of Industrial Training had two roles. It was assessing and certifying, but using trade test.
DIT's role at that time was both training and assessment. We tried our level best to make the public aware of what DIT at that time was doing. Many people didn't know what it was doing. But we went out to people to tell them what we were doing.
Now in 2003, this body or DIT was repealed or was replaced by Industrial Training Act of Parliament. This was in 2003. And we worked with that as a country until 2008, when we had the BTVET Act, the Business, Technical, Vocational Education and Training Act, 2008. And that brought out the functions of DIT and the council itself, Industrial Training Council.
The Industrial Training Council was mandated to oversee the functions of DIT.
The representation of ITC was broad. The spectrum was broad. It encompassed employers, representative of employers, of employees, permanent secretaries from ministries of gender and sports and health, Uganda Investment Authority.
The number was really small at that time, and the assessment numbers went on growing higher and higher during my term of office.
By the time we took over the DIT, it had turned itself into mostly a trade testing body. The training wing had been taken over to ensure that DIT concentrates mostly at recognizing prior learning. What is prior learning? Prior learning is that you can learn from anywhere. Even in your mother's womb, you are learning. Even as you grow, you are learning how to talk. Even as you go to a garage, you are in a school learning how to repair vehicles. The problem in this country is that such skills were not being recognized.
Demystifying the negative publicity and perceptions of vocational and technical education was an uphill task for Industrial Training Council.
This area of technical has been the most marginalized, the most belittled. In fact, in our communities, if your son joins a technical school, they say he's a failure. He has not progressed. If he becomes a mechanic, a carpenter, those are not known. So our job in the council was to make sure that there is a paradigm shift, was to ensure that we reinvent, we reimagine what technical should be. We sell the role of TVET.
In 2003, the Decree Number 2 of 1972 was transformed into the Industrial Training Act 2003. This act later was transformed into the Business, Technical and Vocational Education and Training Act, BTVET Act 2008. This repositioned DIT into the Ministry of Education and Sports.
DIT is not an examination body. It is a testing body. Meaning, you can study from wherever you want to study. You can go to Chambogo Polytechnic. You can go to a garage in Chikubo. You can learn your cooking in your home. We come and test your competency, not your knowledge. Most of the examination bodies you have in this country, UBT, whatever, are testing knowledge. What do you know? For us, we test of what you're telling us you know, what can you do?
In 2004, Uganda Vocational Qualifications Framework Secretariat was instituted. This was tasked to design the Vocational Qualifications Framework.
Establishing the Uganda Vocational Qualifications Framework took 3 stages in particular. 1, we had to identify an occupation, and if we did, we worked on a profile for that occupation. After the profile, we would come up with test items which we used to call the assessment instruments of that occupation. Thereafter, we would work on training modules. These 3 activities formed what we now refer to as the assessment training package, the famous ATP of Uganda.
There has been a steady increase in candidates assessed over the Uganda Vocational Qualification and under the BTVET Act of 2008.
So from 2008, we have been implementing the assessment under the Uganda Vocational Qualification up to now.
After 2009, the Uganda Vocational Qualifications Framework was integrated into DIT, thereby merging the 2 departments at DIT.
I designed the directorate then to become an assessment organization having 2 departments, the Qualification Standards Department and the Assessment Standards Department.
The Directorate of Industrial Training has had tremendous achievements ranging from staff improvement to assessment tools. Number of candidates and occupations have been lined up and accomplished.
The training delivery was separated from assessing and certification. Now DIT was put in place to assess, and our assessment would be occupational based assessment, which is like a trade test. However, because a trade is a skilled occupation, so the assessment, the act is what we are using up to now.
2 departments of Qualification Standards Department and the Assessment Standards Department structures are in place, with detailed technical staff and framework put in place.
Assessment is a process you must prepare. There is training of assessors to get the concept of occupational competence-based assessment. Then there is training of developers to come out with the criteria for the assessment. These are very critical. Now, all this needs training. And by international standards, you must involve people from the industry. And by the way, even the TVET policy states that this cannot be done by an instructor. There should be somebody who has been practicing.
We introduced the workers pass, which is the qualification when those people are assessed at national water, they are given the workers pass. We established a system of this certification with a data bank which is based outside the country, such that when you get a workers pass, your name is entered in the database and your qualification therein, and therefore this is a qualification by which you can stand at any other workplace, showing your competence as to what you can do in the profession.
In 2020, Ministry of Education rolled out the new lower secondary curriculum. Here, vocational and technical skilling is part of the learning curriculum.
This curriculum we are talking of, the lower secondary, is competence-based. It is meant to develop your competences and give you skills in different disciplines. This lower secondary curriculum has got two components. It has got an academic component and a skills component. At the end of the day, you are going to be assessed on both.
So we have tried to work with DIT very, very closely, and I must thank DIT for the support and for harness, because our act says that we should work closely with examination bodies, and one of those that we've worked with closely has been DIT in looking at the pre-vocational skills, because we also have to fit in within the international labor laws. The children who finish O-level are about 16 years. What are the tasks that they can do? And we agreed with DIT that they can be taken on at level 1, which gives them an opportunity to proceed with the vocational line to level 2 and later on ahead. So they have been prepared for the world of work.
When the curriculum was developed and the implementation started, then we had also to think on the way how we promote these skills and competencies. That's why now you have DIT, Directorate of National Training, coming in.
DIT has registered an increase in the assessment centers for occupational competence-based assessment, with now over 80 assessment and training packages developed.
And these ATPs are used as training guides. Specifically, the ATPs that were developed, the 77 were developed for lower secondary, S1 to S3. And these are going to be used as training guides to enable teachers facilitate the learning process of students from S1 to S3.
The accredited centers increased from 549 in 2016-2017 to 2,792 in financial year 2020-2021 for full assessment and module assessment centers.
This curriculum is going to be used by all secondary schools throughout the country, and it's a great achievement. We have the objective of vocationalizing education, such that learners are able to perform in the world of work, not just dropping out, but performing in the world of work. They must acquire these practical skills.
Learners from Senior 1 and 2 take 11 compulsory subjects alongside the selected vocational occupation.
But now, to make these skills and competencies relevant, DIT comes in to assess these skills and see if they are befitting the kind of work these skills are supposed to provide. So DIT is assessing at different levels.
Board and management have come up with a number of incubation centers as a way of creating an income for the directorate. The incubation centers include DIT Saloon, DIT Restaurant, Tailoring, DIT Farm and Bakery. DIT is currently collecting close to 4.7 billion shillings from these centers.
We have put up the business incubation centers
to carry out one of our functions as mandated in the BTVET Act 2008, that is section 14, which says that we have to foster and promote entrepreneurial values and skills as an integral part of the EVQF, and we also have to secure adequate funding and adequate and sustainable financing so that we run most of our activities smoothly.
DIT purchased 206 acres of land in Luero district, on which are 63 heads of cattle, 131 goats and 19 sheep purchased to start the business.
This farm was established in order to ensure that we can assess vocational skills in agriculture as well as skills upgrading for those people who may need it. This farm is intended to run about 20 occupations. So some of them are in the crop sector, others are in the livestock sector.
Now that the Directorate of Industrial Training is mandated to assess students under the lower secondary curriculum, our future plans are to have our business incubation centers as centers of excellence for the students to come for training and acquire the practical hands-on skills for the world of work. But we also encourage other Ugandans to come to our centers for training and assessment to acquire skills for the world of work.
The Directorate of Industrial Training has been certified with an International Organizations for Standardization, ISO. This is to assure the public of the quality, safety and efficiency of the services and systems.
Since 2016, the first achievement is that DIT is now ISO certified. We are ISO certified like a National Industrial Training Authority of Kenya. So that one gives the best service for our clients.
Elisa Nkoyoyo is a beneficiary to DIT skilling and assessment. With his unique skill of roofing with stones, he recalls how the DIT assessment and certification has professionalized his career.
Background yezimu ku projects zange ezimu ze neenyumirizamu nti leero basobola ogikolamu eddwaliro eriwoonya abantu ate nga bye bimu ku bye nali nduubirira nga ntandika project ey'okuseresa amayinja okuleka ensi eno ng'esinga we nagisanga.
DIT deploys assessors to different vocational skills training programs, and graduates are certified for the world of work.
I've gained a lot of skills in the field. Right now, I can operate on the engine, on the suspension, and also a little bit of wiring.
I'm very happy that now I can build a house. For the recent, I have been with nothing to do, but now I'm gonna look for jobs.
The future relies on skilling Ugandans to achieve national development goals by 2040. So, celebrating the achievements of DIT is a great milestone in assessment and training for the world of work.
We are very glad and we thank God that we have made 50 years. We have come a long way, and I think day by day Ugandans have been able to appreciate the relevancy of DIT in promoting employable skills. Over the years, DIT Secretariat has expanded, the number of staff have grown, but also the mandate has been strengthened. Assessment centers of DIT have increased. The quality of assessment has also been strengthened. But also, we have been able, with the council that I chair, but also with the previous council, we have been able to see that the income base of DIT have grown, and it will continue growing over the years.